A worker at a Denver homeless shelter is now facing charges for sexually assaulting a woman who was staying there. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jennifer Meckles. Denver police say this happened early yesterday morning at the city shelter on Quebec near I-70. 9 News reporter Evan Krugel was the first to report this story yesterday. Today you're speaking with witnesses who reportedly pulled the man off his victim.
Yeah, Jenny, that witness says she used a hockey stick to beat the staff member off of the woman he was assaulting. Today, that man, Billy Johnson, was formally charged with felony sexual assault. It was just after midnight.
Yeah.
When Volley and his wife Hennessy heard screams coming from down the hall at this Denver shelter.
A horrible, horrific scream. And so me and my husband jumped up. We ran until the noise stopped, you know what I mean? We knew it was between 3 rooms.
Volley says he ran to get security, who opened the locked door.
I'm thinking that this girl's gonna die and that we need to save her and get away from this guy. Because he wasn't stopping. It didn't matter if we were there or not. He was still trying to do what he was trying to do to this girl. I went and grabbed a hockey stick, and then I had told one of our friends, I was like, move out the way, move out the way. And I hit him 2 times in his eye as hard as I could. And then he finally let go with one hand and he covered his eye.
That suspect, 43-year-old Billy Johnson, appeared in court today on charges of felony sexual assault. Johnson has a long criminal history, including a felony conviction for kidnapping, raising questions from this couple about why he was hired by the Salvation Army.
He's got one of the master fobs for the doors because he's the night manager for all the staff.
Court records show Johnson was sentenced to 24 years in prison for felony kidnapping back in 2015. It's unclear when he was released or if he is on parole.
I don't know, there's no words for it. You know what I mean? I'm speechless. I mean, it's a place that's supposed to help people, you know what I mean? And you think that they'd be more thorough with their background checks and stuff like that, people that they'd have working with them and for them.
They should put him away for life, man, because somebody who is capable of doing that to somebody, I mean, really, he could do that to anybody.
Johnson is being held on a $100,000 cash bond. The Salvation Army told us yesterday they are cooperating with the Denver Police Department's investigation, but they said they won't answer any questions about what happened while the investigation is underway. Jenny, certainly tons of questions from people who stay at that shelter that eventually need to be answered by the Salvation Army.
Yes, and I have the same questions they do. How was this person in a position where they were working at the shelter if they had this record? But you said Salvation Army at this point not willing to answer any further questions.
Yeah, no answers yet. We'll certainly continue to press them, though.
Okay, Evan Krugel, thank you. A man will spend the rest of his life in prison for his role in a human trafficking case involving kids. According to Boulder County, 24-year-old Angel Gomez Rubio was arrested in November 2023 for providing drugs to middle and high school age students in exchange for money and sex. Through records and witness interviews, investigators found drug dealing operations where he targeted students across Boulder County. Investigators say his victims included 13 minors. Earlier this week, Gomez Rubio pleaded guilty to several charges, including sex trafficking, assault, and distribution of marijuana to a minor. He got 97 years behind bars. Denver police are investigating a stabbing this morning at a busy shopping area. This happened at South Colorado Boulevard near the Boulevard Center Shopping Mall. DPD says the victim in this case should survive. They have not provided any information on a suspect or what exactly happened. And Aurora police say a man was killed after somebody shot him in his apartment. This happened on Adriatic Drive after about 10 o'clock last night. Investigators say a downstairs neighbor heard some kind of a commotion, went upstairs, and found a man with a gunshot wound. That man was rushed to the hospital where he later died. Again, police have yet to provide any information about a suspect, but they say they are investigating this as a homicide. Tonight, we're learning more about a deadly crash in Thornton earlier this week. Thornton police believe that impairment is what led to this crash. Police say an 18-year-old man was driving on eastbound on 120th Avenue, ran a red light, crashed into the passenger side of a car driven by a man who was trying to make a turn. That man was pronounced dead at the scene. Thornton police are now investigating and asking anybody who has information about the crash to please contact them. Today, a community gathering in Boulder will remember the lives lost inside the Table Mesa King Supers. 4 years ago today, a gunman opened fire, killing 10 people. The shooter is now serving 10 consecutive life sentences in prison. This afternoon was the annual Boulder Strong Day of Remembrance. It was at the Museum of Boulder, and that is where we find 9 News reporter Colton Chavez tonight. You were covering this memorial. Colton, kind of take us in. How is everything going today?
Jenny, I would be lying if I said that my heart doesn't still ache for this community, but that same community I watched fill that building just behind me to remember family members, co-workers, and neighbors who all called Boulder home. Now inside that building were photos of those lost loved ones that filled the inside the room of the Museum of Boulder. Speakers shared their favorite memories and reminded everyone that they will never be forgotten. Families who spoke about a difficult road ahead also said that they felt a weight had been lifted when the shooter was found guilty in September of last year. City Mayor Aaron Brockett talked a lot about his community remaining Boulder strong.
It's such a somber day, right? Because it feels like the shooting was just yesterday. The pain is still so fresh. But the power of an event like this is seeing people come together, right? And support each other in this time of remembrance and celebration of those we lost.
Those 10 families will never be the same. This community will never be the same. From the people who walk up and down these streets, shop at these stores, from the first responders who showed up that day to face the fear head on, from the news agencies who covered and gave the community vital information, and the organizations that continue to step up for people who need it, and for all of us who call the state of Colorado home and have seen the impact that these mass shootings have had one too many times. I was at my family home in Frederick on that day, and we will never forget. Now, there are resources available for anybody who continues to be impacted by that shooting. They have a City of Boulder Strong Resource Center that's off Baseline Road in Boulder. Of course, we have more information on our website at 9news.com. Live in Boulder today, Colton Chavez, 9 News.
Those are some good resources. Make sure we keep sharing. Colton, thank you. Today also marks 2 years since a student at East High in Denver shot 2 staff members. Now one of those staffers has filed a lawsuit. In 2023, a 17-year-old student at East shot Wayne Mason and Eric Sinclair. Both of them were deans at the time. They survived. Mason has now filed a lawsuit saying that shooting could have been prevented. The lawsuit points out that the shooter had a history of issues with firearms. When he enrolled at East High 2 months before the shooting, DPS had put him on a safety plan. As part of that, he had to undergo verbal check-ins before school every day. According to the lawsuit, that was changed to mandatory searches just days before the shooting because he was spotted with a gun. The lawsuit argues Denver Public Schools did not provide administrators with adequate training on how to search and pat down students. All right, let's take a little break from the headlines. And how about a look outside? A really beautiful day, much warmer across Denver. We had been kind of on alert, watching for any fire threats. Those are still high. The strong winds are still kicking around. But at the same time, other parts of our state are seeing inches of snow today. Let's get right over to 9 News Weather Impact Team Meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen with more of, it's really a clash of seasons, Corey. We've been on fire watch. Luckily, nothing we've seen at this time, but got a little fire, a little ice. It's all kind of happening.
Yeah, and it's all related to this kind of moderately strength storm system that's rolling over the state right now. The fire weather warnings go until 8 o'clock this evening because of the winds and the low humidity. This is a live satellite and radar. You can see the snow in the high country, scattered but fairly consistent in some areas, and that does include the I-70 mountain corridor. Now that the sun is starting to set a little bit, cooler temperatures on those roads, mountain passes will be a little bit more difficult over the next 5 hours. Here's the current winds. We're still getting winds in the 15 to 30 mile per hour range. Here's some 40 mile per hour gusts, 44 just now in Sedalia. So those high winds are still kicking across the area, starting to let up a little bit up on the northern front range, but they're still getting gusts in the 20 to 30 mile per hour range. That will also likely continue until at least 8 or 9 o'clock tonight, when it'll gradually start to break up. We made it up into the 60s today. We're still in the 60s here at 9 News Studios and also out at Denver International Airport right now. And as far as tomorrow goes, we're going to see a very similar day, but the winds will be just kicked down just a little bit as we go through the day. I'd describe it as breezy, but we'll see quite a bit of sunshine once again, and we'll probably make it just briefly into the low 60s once again, and then we'll start a warm-up that will be starting a Monday afternoon. I'll talk about that also coming up in the full forecast.